Hello everybody, Andrew Casey at Hypersanity Books. Today we'll be talking about writing narcissists in your stories. This can come into all different categories of character type. With this overview, I will touch on different types of narcissist to some extent. I'm trying to keep it to the simpler form, just to help with the creativity of your writing. Sometimes too much information will just cause overthinking, and with this type of subject matter of narcissism, overthinking is definitely a certainty. Number 10. 4 types of narcissists. I did do a video, which is removed now, on narcissism, and the reason is because of newer content, better audio. With the subject, the reason I go for 4 types of narcissists is because other types of narcissists fall into subcategories to these 4 categories, and the reason I keep it to the 4 structure is it's simpler to identify the 4 types in your personal life and in your writing, and this will help to further develop characters further. So if you do more research, kudos. Otherwise, keep some of the subject matter a little bit simpler, and I stick to the 4 types for this reason. There are some different opinions where there's 10 types, 8 types, 6 types, 7. I just stick to the 4. Number 9, Overt Narcissist.
The profanity bothers you.
It has no nobility.
What do you think I say when I go to the feed store in town? Oh, now, Wally, give me a bag of that effing pig feed and 10 pounds that bitchly cow corn.
Overt narcissists can operate in different ways. One of the more common aspects that are noticeable is gaslighting, which I'll talk about soon. With an overt narcissist, you might see them at a fast food restaurant, and the way they talk to certain staff, it's being heard. The outspoken type. With overt narcissists, this can get confused with different frustrations. There are different challenges that people have, whether it's mental or just social.
I think I'm going to recommend to the court that we double your time. There are 2 kinds of angry people, explosive and implosive. Explosive is the kind of individual that you see screaming at the cashier for not taking their coupons. Implosive is the cashier who remains quiet day after day and finally shoots everyone in the store.
Number 8, Covert Narcissist. I'm struggling to get some professionals to see this point of view. One way that they do operate is behind closed doors. The other way is it takes one to know one. That is one of the other sayings that we hear about. They know how to turn a story 180. With a covert narcissist, one of the primary traits that I do notice, it's delegation.
Oh my god, okay, you have to do it, okay? And then you have to tell me all of the horrible things that Regina says. Now, look, this isn't about hating her, okay? I just think that it would be like a fun little experiment if you were to hang out with them and then tell us everything that they say.
The weird thing about hanging out with Regina was that I could hate her, and at the same time, I still wanted her to like me. I spent about 80% of my time talking about Regina, and the other 20% of the time I was praying for someone else to bring her up so I could talk about her more. I could hear people getting bored with me, but I couldn't stop. It just kept coming up like word vomit.
Hey, I'm having an art show, so you should take a night off from your double life. I want you to see it.
In the school before the main character comes along, and she gets her to play into the game to spy on the other group and get to know all their dirty little secrets. This type of storytelling is effective, but that is a form of the covert narcissist. So she's staying out of harm's way while other people are delegated doing harm. Number 7, Seductive Narcissist.
Enough with the foreplay, Sailor. What are you selling?
Well, I was going to try to sell you some handsome cream, but I can see you already bought out the store.
This is one category, and there are other subcategories from here that are sexualized categories. I'm not talking about that in this subject, but here's some examples. With the seductive narcissist, the most common type that you will see in your life is a salesman, real estate agent, broker. It's someone who's, the way they're operating, it's usually in small business or bigger business. And the idea is to shower you with admiration, make you feel good about yourself because they want that sale. And as soon as you're not fitting that mold, they're dropping you like a ton of bricks. That is one of the things with the seductive narcissist. Now, I also understand sometimes business needs to operate a certain way, and you can't get your personal life caught up into other people's personal life because it's not obtaining the main goal. This is not always a category of narcissism. However, in this example, it's the fakeness that is the important part to remember. Number 6, vindictive narcissist. This is one of the biggest warnings when it comes to narcissism, and one of the biggest forms of vindictive narcissists. When they can no longer control you, they change how multiple third parties see you. This is important. With the multiple third parties part, you could see this within cyber harassment. It can be from an ex-partner relationship. It can come from, even from schools, church groups. This can come in a lot of forms with the vindictive narcissist, and it's the behavior to not let the person be free from them. And that's one of the bigger traits to remember. It's not letting someone have their freedom from that behavior. Number 5, 11 signs of gaslighting. Now, I want to give tribute to Kelly within the group. Thank you for a lot of your comments. It's much appreciated. And the things you sent me through email with cinema therapy, I love that channel. It is very close to what I'm trying to do with this channel. Now, I also noticed there's a couple videos that I wanted to talk about, and they've already done that topic. So, very informative. On the Mother Gothel character, I drew inspiration talking in another video, but one point that I noticed that they talked about was the 11 signs of gaslighting. Now, I will leave a link to this video that they have at the end of the video, and there's a website, Psychology Today, I'll leave a link to that in the description, where it talks about the 11 signs of gaslighting. They tell blatant lies. They deny they ever said something, even though you have proof. They use what is near and dear to you as ammunition. They wear you down over time. Their actions do not match their words. They throw in positive reinforcement to confuse you. That also implies to confusing others, especially when it comes to law. They know confusion weakens people. They project. They try to align people against you. They tell others that you are crazy. They tell you everyone else is a liar. That's one of the other big points. It's breaking down friendships that the other people have for their safety net. And that's one of the other main forms, is to break away the safety net so you are dependent or reliant on the narcissist. This comes into a lot of different forms. And one of the saddest that I'm actually starting to realize, a lot of other comments I've seen with this subject, it even happens to people in the adult life with and without grandchildren. And I think that's extremely sad that from separated parents, there are some that still play the game through the kids, and that's so many years later, decades later, and still going. And that's just a sad way to live life. Not really live, to be honest. Number 4, empaths. Empaths draw narcissists because empaths and empathetic people come in all different shapes and forms. Now, some people will who are narcissistic will pretend to be empathetic because they know different types of empaths. And one of the things with the relationships that they do form, they're superficial relationships, they're fake friendships. And like in the Giselle case study video, the lawyer, he also explains that he knows and deals with this sort of thing all the time. And if there are problems at the beginning of a relationship, it never gets better.
You can call me Shawnery. My kids are 7, 5, and 3. Different fathers, obviously.
And sometimes there are a lot of red flags, and sometimes there are bombshells that just cannot be ignored, though a narcissist will ignore those sorts of bombshells. But they'll point out everyone else's, and even minor things. As previously mentioned, they will wear you out over time. Number 3, Mrs. Bouquet.
B-U-C-K-E-T. Oh, bucket. It's Bouquet.
Now, with this character, and this is actually an interesting one, there are a lot of people who use the TV show from keeping up appearances to help with therapy groups. And it's not necessarily saying that the antagonist is threatening to the other people around. It's how the other characters enable her narcissistic behavior as the protagonist. So with this type of character, I would prefer to do it more as a case study because of how she affects the other people around her. Though a lot of the episodes and examples of this type of narcissist do work well for a lot of people recovering from narcissistic abuse, just in a simpler way to identify red flags that they have. With a lot of her other traits, keeping up appearances, as said, it's the other characters that are enabling her behaviour. Number 2, moving forward.
You of all people should know this about me, but I don't share Kakarot's taste for forgiveness. I'm sending you back to hell.
Your threats are as empty as your title. All hail Vegeta, Prince of No One.
As much as there's a lot of noise around the subject of narcissism and empaths, one of the biggest things to do with your writing, and this is a struggle when you are writing difficult characters, it's trying to find a way to progress through the pain to write what it is that you're writing. And that is one thing to always consider when it comes to killing off characters that you're emotionally attached to, or characters who are based off other people that you know and what you're going to get the character to do. Sometimes you will create characters where there will be an emotional bind, and it's trying to figure out how to keep moving forward with your storytelling. And with the subject, it is even heavy for me to talk about. There are a lot of pauses I've done through this video because it is a difficult subject and an emotional subject to talk about. And that emotional roller coaster, or as I like to also say, the infinite crisis, the multiple third parties, multiple stories, you just want to stop. And that is a difficult thing to remember when creating characters like this. Number 1, dark empaths everywhere.
She has a loving son to take care of her, and I just don't understand how the court can entrust my mother to this stranger. And now she has auctioned off my mother's house, her car, her personal belongings, and she uses the proceeds to pay herself. And now Miss Grayson has barred me from seeing my mother at all. It's a goddamn nightmare. She has kidnapped my mother.
Oh, listen, I don't have time.
No! Security! My mom died. You never let me see her. She died in there alone.
Now, a dark empath will have narcissistic traits. There's also the question, who is worse, the narcissist or the dark empath? Now, the dark empath, I find, is a lot darker. They have different ways where they operate within society in plain daylight, and they are everywhere, just like a vampire. Now, in some tests of up to 1,000 people, some numbers in some tests have come to the conclusion of 10, 15, or even 19% of people come under the category of a dark empath. And one of the reasons I find them frightening, they work within society into different roles. So normally public servants. You look at the movie I Care a Lot, the character is the protagonist, and this is where it's frightening. Now, she has taken advantage of a lot of people, and she knows how to work through the proper channels to deflect from herself, but her goals and objectives are not good at all. When it comes within the conclusion of the story, she has taken advantage in a bigger business model for what she is doing, and that's the frightening part of a dark empath. Now, within the satisfying conclusion, someone she hurt within the beginning, he had no rights to his mother, never got to say goodbye, and shot her at the end. I'm not trying to say that committing the crime is right, though it was a satisfying character death. And that's it for today. If you like this video, please hit like so it pushes out further. I'm working on more creative content to help with your writing, doing more book reviews, and of course, case studies. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next video.